Imagine ruling the most powerful empire on Earth while secretly writing a journal that would impact humanity for the next 2,000 years. In the chaos of war, plague, and personal tragedy, one Roman emperor found time to develop a philosophy so powerful it still changes lives today. Meet Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-king who never wanted to rule, the warrior who yearned for peace, and the man whose private thoughts would become one of history's most influential books. Today, we're exploring how a reluctant emperor created a timeless guide to living well in a chaotic world. Marcus Aurelius was born in Rome in 121 CE to an aristocratic family. His father died when he was just 3 years old, but fate had unusual plans for young Marcus. The Emperor Hadrian noticed something special in him, a serious, disciplined mind even as a child. Hadrian arranged for Marcus to receive the finest education possible. Unlike most Roman nobles who focused on military training, Marcus fell in love with philosophy, particularly Stoicism, a practical philosophy focused on virtue, reason, and accepting what we cannot control. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. B1. Marcus Aurelius, his primary teacher was Junius Rusticus, who introduced him to the works of Epictetus, a former slave turned influential Stoic philosopher. Marcus would carry Epictetus's handbook with him throughout his life. What Marcus couldn't have known was that he was being groomed for power. Emperor Hadrian, who had no children, arranged for his successor Antoninus Pius to adopt Marcus, placing him directly in line for the throne. For a young man who treasured quiet reflection and philosophical study, the prospect of ruling Rome must have been terrifying. In 161 CE, after the death of Antoninus Pius, Marcus Aurelius reluctantly became emperor at age 40. In an unprecedented move, Marcus insisted on sharing power with his adopted brother Lucius Verus. It was the first time Rome had 2 equal emperors, but Marcus had inherited an empire facing serious threats. Germanic tribes were pressing at the northern borders. A devastating plague was spreading from the east. The treasury was depleted, and just like that, the philosopher who valued tranquility above all else would spend the next 19 years almost constantly at war. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Marcus Aurelius, the irony wasn't lost on Marcus. In his personal writings, he constantly reminded himself that external events, even war, should not disturb his inner peace. This brings us to his most enduring legacy, a book he never intended anyone to read. While commanding troops on the northern frontier, Marcus began writing personal notes to himself, reminders of his philosophical principles, ways to maintain his sanity amid chaos, reflections on mortality and virtue. These writings would later be compiled into what we now call meditations. Though Marcus himself never gave them a title, they were simply his personal journal. What makes meditations so remarkable is its raw honesty. These weren't polished public statements but private thoughts never meant for other eyes. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. The book consists of 12 books of varying length. In them, Marcus reminds himself to remain humble despite his power, to accept hardship without complaint, and to treat others with patience and justice. Perhaps the most striking aspect of meditations is that the most powerful man in the world still struggled with the same human challenges we all face: anger, frustration, the temptation to give up. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. Today, Meditations remains one of the most accessible introductions to Stoic philosophy and continues to influence leaders, entrepreneurs, and ordinary people looking for wisdom in a chaotic world. But how did Marcus's philosophical beliefs shape his actual rule? Unlike many emperors before and after him, Marcus governed with restraint. He reduced penalties for crimes, improved conditions for slaves, and established charitable institutions for orphans. Even more remarkably, he tolerated criticism and dissent, something rare for Roman emperors. When a rebellion led by Avidius Cassius broke out, Marcus responded with clemency rather than brutal repression. But his reign wasn't perfect. Christians faced persecution under his rule, though historians debate how directly involved Marcus was in these policies. His greatest challenge remained the northern borders, where he spent years leading campaigns against Germanic tribes. Despite being a philosopher who valued peace, he spent most of his reign at war. Perhaps the greatest test of his Stoic principles came with personal tragedy. Of his 13 children with his wife Faustina, Only 5 survived to adulthood. Yet through it all, Marcus maintained his philosophical outlook, writing, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." Marcus Aurelius died in 180 CE, likely from the plague that had ravaged the empire. His final reported words to his guard were, "Go to the rising sun, I am already setting." His death marked the end of what historians call the 5 good emperors period. What followed was less fortunate for Rome. His son Commodus, yes, the villain from the movie Gladiator, succeeded him and proved to be one of Rome's worst emperors, undoing many of his father's achievements. This raises one of history's great what-ifs. Why would a man so focused on virtue and wisdom fail to prevent his son from succeeding him, when he must have seen Commodus's flaws? It's a reminder that even the wisest among us have blind spots, usually involving those closest to us. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Marcus Aurelius, but Marcus's true legacy lives on through his writings. Meditations has never gone out of print and continues to find new readers in every generation. Show various modern editions of Meditations in different languages. In our modern world of constant distraction, political polarization, and information overload, his advice feels startlingly relevant. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius tech CEOs, professional athletes, military leaders, and ordinary people facing life's challenges all continue to find wisdom in the private thoughts of this reluctant emperor. So what can we learn from Marcus Aurelius today? Perhaps it's this: true power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering ourselves. In a world that pulls us in countless directions, the ability to choose our responses remains our greatest freedom. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Marcus Aurelius, emperor, general, philosopher, reminds us that even in life's most difficult moments, we can find inner tranquility through rational thought and virtuous action. A man who ruled the known world found his greatest conquest in ruling his own mind. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, "The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil, but I have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own." Marcus Aurelius. If you enjoyed this exploration of Marcus Aurelius, let me know in the comments which other philosophical figures from history you'd like me to cover next. Subscribe for more journeys into the minds that shaped our world.